Before I get on to the main topic, I just want to take time to praise Sakurai, the creator of Super Smash Bros., for stating the obvious that Japanese developers should avoid trying to appeal to Western tastes.
Thank you!
Something that honestly surprised me given how Super Smash Bros. Has worldwide appeal, and usually those creators feel the most compelled to announce their commitment to the global audience. But for a franchise and someone as popular as him to announce this is huge, and I hope this message permeates throughout Japan and really the East in general to stop trying to fix what isn't broken and realize the reason we love your content as Westerners is because you prioritize your cultural identity and customs of creativity. Now, moving on. Something I noticed in recent years is that there is a difference in approach to creativity when it comes to Japan versus the West, or more accurately, the modern day West, where the attitude here is lazy, doing the least, but always feeling entitled to the most, where the attitude in Japan is doing the most with plenty of effort, but always feeling unworthy or deserving of any praise. Basically, arrogance and ego versus humility and shame. And when I say shame, I mean never feeling as if they're meeting the standards placed upon them, but I think the results speak for themselves. Where the modern day Western creative, in my opinion turned activists, have completely forgotten the notion of the customer is always right, only looking to serve themselves, the people in their bubble who all agree with them, never critical of any decision making, strictly concerned with putting forth their political beliefs, social agendas, and their entertainment, and expect you to buy it regardless.
And if you don't like my politics, don't buy my book.
And when you choose to not buy their garbage product because no one is interested in buying political campaigns disguised as entertainment, they get surprised when shit hits the fan.
That's hard because from our perspective, the industry has contracted and we're very worried about comics right now. I tend to be pretty optimistic, but in this one I'm worried. I'm straight worried. Why? Because stores are closing, independent comic sales are down.
And when you as a fan try to offer feedback or good faith criticism, their egotistic mind can only conceptualize that as hate or harassment.
Funimation has come under, let's call it, criticism for how they choose to adapt their scripts for
like
a couple
unnecessary
of shows.
hate. Yeah, got it.
Yeah. So how would you like to respond to that kind of criticism?
To the criticism, like, I have a vagina, deal with it.
Because this is the first time in a long time, or maybe ever, they receive pushback outside of their comfort zone of a bubble, believing they can never do no wrong. But I remember watching a documentary on mangakas or animators where these creators were spending extremely long hours dedicating themselves to making the best art they can. And when seeing their work in the rough draft stages, that amazed me on that alone. And it surprised me when one expressed how he never feels as if he's doing enough or coming close to the job he was assigned to do, almost having a look of always wanting to be better or shame like he wasn't meeting a standard expected of him when already by any measurement he bypasses so many when it comes to talent alone.
なんかちょっとやってるうちに若干こう僕元からネガティブなんで全然ダメだ僕ってなりますね。自分の引き出しの狭さにこう少なさに難しいです。
I even remember a post from an animator who worked on Jujutsu Kaisen for MAPPA expressing himself on Twitter saying, "Everyone is not trash like me, so I know that everyone's sympathy and encouragement must be from the bottom of my heart, but right after releasing something that I'm not satisfied with, that kind of thing will have the opposite effect. So for now, I want you to leave me alone. I'll make up for it in my future work. Until then, I will live my life as the worst animator who has ruined a masterpiece." And this is what I mean by humility and shame. And of course, those traits are good to have and necessary to prevent your ego and narcissism from getting the best of you, making you big-headed as many fake Western creatives have. But this is when it's pushed to its extreme. I can't even believe words like these are coming from someone as talented as this, who's worked on something as beautiful as Jujutsu Kaisen, where sometimes when I watch, it's almost hard to fathom that something of this magnitude was created by a human at all. Now maybe that's ignorance coming from someone who can only draw Sonic bending his knee, but I'm sure many of you share the same sentiment as me. where I almost feel like we're spoiled as fans when it comes to the abundance and quality of Japanese content, but they continue to work themselves to death to please us to a huge degree, making it their duty to do so. But then you have these modern day washed up Western creatives turned activists who make it their duty not to do so, and if anything the reverse, not giving a shit about the fans who brought them the popularity in the first place, never showing the least bit of gratitude, only their ass to kiss like they're entitled to your dollar.
It's like I joke about this with the team. It's like, oh, we made a game with The Last of Us 2. We made certain creative decisions. That got us a lot of hate. A lot of people love it, but a lot of people hate that game.
Who gives a shit?
Exactly. But
then compare that to the author of Vinland Saga, where he apologized to the fans when told by some that one anime scene didn't fit the scene portrayed in the manga, with one fan saying, "Another great Vinland Saga episode, but just want to say that I was sort of disappointed with this panel recreation. Other stuff was done amazingly, like the horse punch, but what really dropped the ball with Taro Thorkill compared to the manga." And surprisingly, he responds with humility. Thank you for a lot of responses, and I really appreciate for your understanding and supporting. It is also unwilling for me to make a film that is unsatisfactory for viewers. I will keep pushing on. And I say surprising because I'm just so used to creators in the West today who basically spit in the face of fans at the first sight of any criticism, compared to Japanese creators who are so humble, yet their work exceeds any of these arrogant pricks and lunatics in the West who only produce garbage and ideological shit. And it's such a mixed match, it's almost hard to believe. Even as I'm making this video, I remember seeing the new CEO of Kadokawa who was pushing for censorship in anime and manga, but when met with backlash from the fans as such a horrible idea, he actually apologized and made a course correct, almost admitting to his out of touch stance, but was humble enough to hear the fans out and understand their take on the many properties they love and don't want to see it changed. That's just astounding in today's world to witness, where people in charge of these positions actually listen to the fans. That's like the second coming of Christ or something. Sorry for the blasphemy, but you understand my point. And it's just so unheard of, but so appreciated on my part. But of course, it can get pushed to its extreme, where I recently read an article on the creator of Black Lagoon, Rei Hiroe, who for the longest dealt with immense pressure and depression while working on the series. Now, I love Black Lagoon. Revi is waifu, and I should have bought that damn figurine when I was in Japan. But anyways, I love Black Lagoon. It's an anime I revisit from time to time because the replay value is outstanding and I never get bored of it. And I'll leave a link to the article in the description below, but some points that I got from it is that the author felt a duty to the series and manga readers, but it became such a burden under the depression he was facing, also with the death of his father, to the point he felt like a rubber band getting stretched to its limit, reaching his breaking point. And there's one thing that interested me is that when writing his characters, he would take on the emotions and personalities of them, like how a method actor takes on the complete personality of the character they're playing, never off key from the entirety of the filmmaking process. Even when off film set, they would still be in character. And one actor well known for this is Daniel Day-Lewis. When he played Lincoln, he was never out of character, even all said. Just imagine that. So I guess you could call Ray somewhat of a method writer, totally getting lost in his work, versus modern Western writers who do nothing but self-inserts, injecting their own worldviews and personalities into the characters, and becomes cringe to watch on its own. So that's a talent in itself for Ray to do that. But thankfully, Ray seems to have found a balance with work and life and has a good editor with him throughout all of this. And it's sad to see what Western creators have become, especially when it comes to those who have had success early in their careers, making some really great notable pieces of work and used to have great relationships with the fans. But due to recent times having these creative fields infiltrated by activists, it's like they caught a virus of political correctness frying their brains, convincing themselves they should now hate the fans, never listen to them, and take orders only from activists, or flat out become activists themselves, leading to the destruction of Western entertainment as we know it. Western creators used to be cool, being one of the fans themselves, but are now just shells of what they once were, making me appreciate more and more the Japanese approach, who make it their duty to please the fans. Even though it's pushed to the extreme sometimes, but just makes someone like me raise my gratitude for them, making me want to support even more because of it. But that's all I had for this video. Tell me what you think in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on my breakdown of all of this ego versus humility and what happens when pushed to the extremes? I'm curious to know. And if you haven't already, check out my music on Spotify or YouTube, link in the description. If you love those Samurai Champloo lo-fi mellow boom bap vibes, then my music is definitely for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Free think. Peace.